All right, so I was on a road trip heading back from North Carolina this weekend with my daughter, and as I'm coming up from Chicago, I thought about the old Highway 41, and my father used to tell me stories about how they go down there and visit family. And so old Highway 41 from Milwaukee to Chicago was actually, well, 41 was first instituted in 1926 apparently, and these highways, unlike the interstate nowadays, these highways actually went through the downtowns of these small towns, and the small towns actually invited it. They wanted it so that they could increase their business and commerce and all that good stuff. So here we are. 41 actually ranges from the upper peninsula of Michigan all the way down to, I believe it goes all the way down to Miami. And so we are just going to do a tiny, tiny little stretch of that. And it will be from Milwaukee. I think we'll go through Milwaukee County. But anyhow, I know this isn't a really exciting part of the video, but this is where we're going to start. So 41 was actually 27th Street through Milwaukee. It originally was 27th all the way to Highland, then it cut from Highland to 20th and then went north. But I think it wasn't more than a year or two later, and I'll try to post a map on this video, where it actually ended up that 41 was just 27th Street coming all the way through Milwaukee. So I'm going to start and stop this video as we go and try to highlight some of the old things on this Highway 41. It's amazing. You know, there are so many small businesses that existed because of this highway. You'll see a lot of motels. Hopefully we'll find those. That used to be an old Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips, I think. But yeah, so you can see there's a lot of stuff kind of shut down here. Maybe that was the Arthur Treacher's, I don't know. But at any rate, we're going to go across this viaduct, which is going across the Menominee River Valley in Milwaukee. On your left, you'll see the Mitchell Park Domes. Mitchell Park actually was the site, that bluff was the site of the trading post that Jacques Vieux had, and whose son-in-law became, Solomon Juneau, who was our first mayor, one of our founders of the city. Thank you, John Gerda and company. This is not information that I've gathered on my own, but stole from other people, great historians like Mr. Gerda. So there you got a good view of Milwaukee's downtown. So we're heading into the south side, and I will just kind of cut off and on as we go. I'll also try to bring up, I was born in 1970. I am a Milwaukee South Sider, so I will bring up some businesses and other things that used to exist on this road. But you'll dive into some good Milwaukee history as we're heading down the old Highway 41. All right, so we are heading south on 27th. This aspect of it is called Layton Boulevard. And you'll see some amazingly gorgeous structures here and facilities. Very historic. Layton, I believe, was named after Fred Layton. I think he and his brother were in the meatpacking business. School Sisters of St. Francis, that has been around a long, long time. You'll see, again, some pretty cool houses here. It's been one of my dreams at some point to buy one of these homes. Don't know if that'll ever happen. This is Mitchell Street, which used to be considered the downtown on the south side. If you went all the way down to near 16th. Again, give you a good view of some of these houses here. Pretty cool. Nice boulevard. And I'm trying to find, there is a place, yep. So on Burnham, and you barely saw it, but on Burnham, sorry about that. So I'm trying not to hit anybody in the car. There are Frank Lloyd Wright homes. And I actually helped one of the owners when I was in high school refinish one of his houses. It was a pretty cool experience. So yeah, that was his, Frank Lloyd Wright's urban emphasis, trying to build homes that were affordable for the regular person, regular family. Don't know if that caught on real well, but there is about a block stretch up Burnham, just west of 27th, where you can see those Frank Lloyd Wright homes. All right, we are approaching Lincoln Avenue, and then past that, if we get through this light, will be Forest Home. Forest Home, actually, my understanding was it was a plank road way back in the day. And the Layton brothers to our left over here, you're not going to be able to see the building. I think there's remnants of it, though. It's now a church. But they had a little stagecoach area there. And so, yeah, Forest Home, it was a plank road. I believe it took you all the way out to Janesville. And somewhere along the way in Hales Corners, it connects with Janesville Road or parallels it or something like that. So there are people watching this video who probably know a heck of a lot more about the history than I do. And that is, by the way, Forest Home Cemetery, which has some of Milwaukee's most historic residents in it. All right, we'll get back to the next segment of the video in a sec. All right, we're at 27th and Oklahoma, and you can see here's Pulaski High School. This used to be a juggernaut of a school, and it's still going. Has some charter school elements to it as well, but it's still going. Wanted to point out, of course, Leon's frozen custard, open year-round. And you can see another little mini downtown area here that would have been built up in large part due to the old Highway 41 that cut through here. Our Lady Queen of Peace Church. But all of this is obviously very, very new. This used to be the location of Southgate Mall. And I believe it was the first shopping mall in the state of Wisconsin. This is now a Walmart and a bunch of other stuff. But again, a historic area. All right, we passed the old location of Mark's Big Boy, but shout out to that. I guess my parents met there or something. Look at this old hotel. Used to be, apparently it was owned by a gentleman who immigrated from Europe. I can't remember this country he was from, but he built it. It became like a kind of a ritzy hotel, and obviously since came into some decline since the 1850s. So it is currently 2021, so that building, just lucky that it's still there. All right, lots of bowling in Milwaukee. So back there you had, I believe that's Olympic Lanes, but this used to be lined with a bunch of bowling alleys. And then around here used to be the old Willows Golf Center. I think they had batting cages and stuff. That is totally gone now. You know what? I'm gonna turn around. We're gonna take a little peek up there. That would have been a fun place to hang out on Highway 41. So we'll be back in a sec. I backtracked a little bit. I owed it to the people who got through high school in the 70s and 80s, and I think even the 90s. This was Willows Golf Center. They had batting cages. Remember they had the huge golf ball. I'm hoping this guy doesn't hit me. And they had the huge golf ball right here. And if you hit one of your balls that you were driving into the big golf ball, like you got a free thing of golf balls. Anyhow, looks like all that was taken out. It is literally gone. Wow, this is nuts. But there were some good times. It was a good, safe place to hang out as a teenager back then, but it is gone and is now obviously part of a auto dealership. All right, well, we move on. All right, we found a North 41 sign right there. As you can see, the freeway or interstate kind of obliterated that. That light looks pink. Okay, good. I'm glad we're stopping here. Just wanted to say real quick. So my father, after growing up on 6th and Harrison, his parents actually then lived in a house over here. That would have been the backyard right there, just past that blue car. It was pre-Kmart, pre-interstate, pre all this stuff. So all of this was farm fields, just farm fields. And his story is that he and his buddies would get a lawnmower and carve out a baseball field. And I think he said they went through a few lawnmowers. Ooh, there's the old Chancery that bit the dust. But yeah, they went through a few lawnmowers that summer. I'm sure his father wasn't too happy. All right. Well, you can see here too, there's an old house. There's some older structures here amongst the new stuff. So what I'm really looking forward to now, as we got out of town, as you can imagine, 70 to 100 years ago, this is pretty rural. So I think that house my dad lived on 28th and Layton was built in like 55. So before that, there was nothing out here. And if the highways started going in 1926, it's like a quarter century there, really not a lot out here. Here is one of the places, this Hideaway. See that motel. A couple of old houses here. That Hideaway, though, I saw an article with an interview of the owner, and he was describing how much things have changed, obviously, and they get some seedy customers in there at times. You get some people in transition in life. Maybe their home life has changed or what have you, but these used to be the places where people stayed on their way to and from Chicago, cutting through Milwaukee. So pretty interesting. All right, so along with motels were drive-ins. We saw Leon's back there. This used to be an A&W. What does it say now? It's a Rosen car dealership. But that was an A&W drive-in that I worked in along with some of my friends in high school back in the mid-'80s. So that drive-in obviously has gone the way of the dinosaurs. This used to be a Red Owl food store, and then they had, I believe, a Red Carpet bowling alley, and that is long gone too. Well, it looks like a couple of things are long gone here. So again, things have certainly changed in the last 40 to 50 years, and we're going to keep exploring, seeing if we can see some structures that are even older than that. All right, so we're just passing College Avenue heading south, and we just passed also Romines. There was a pool hall, and before that was Wisconsin Skate University for those of you who like to roller skate and hang out. I remember 6th grade, a lot of good times there, socializing with friends, playing video games, roller skating. But this, in the 70s and 80s, there was nothing out here. You can see some homes on the side, but otherwise, all of this commercial stuff was, you got a Starbucks here. There was nothing. So these towns, Oak Creek on your right and Franklin on your left, have just exploded in terms of population. They were really just farm communities and nice communities, but yeah, they have erupted into their own cities. So this has changed quite a bit. And again, imagine heading down to Chicago or up from Chicago, and this is a little 2-lane, maybe 4-lane highway as you're strolling along. And this would have been all farmland. Now, up here is Racine Avenue. I mean, we were so far out, that's kind of where you had the adult-oriented stores away from where families might be. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. There's families all over, but there were one of those stores, Cupid's Toys, maybe? Yeah, how do I remember that? That was on the corner here. I did not frequent the place. I just would drive by as a high schooler, and we'd always laugh about that place. Here's a really old house. And we're approaching another major place on this road. So on my right is a Northwestern Mutual building that used to be the... All right, so I drove into the Northwestern Mutual complex and had to do it. The 41 Twin, I didn't want to, not give it its due. It was actually a place, there's 27th or Old Highway 41 now. We used to buy Christmas trees there. I remember seeing Pretty in Pink and Ferris Bueller at the drive-in. So this was really a classic place for teenagers in the 70s and 80s, may have been here before that, to hang out and go do something. And again, all those things are now pretty much extinct. And so I thought we'd at least do a little drive through here, see if the terrain felt familiar at all to anybody watching this. All right, we'll continue south on what is now called 271. By the way, there's supposed to be a plaque somewhere on that Northwestern Mutual campus commemorating the drive-in, but I did not see it. All right, you can see now this 70s, 80s, this was the sticks out here. This was middle of nowhere. You know, there's another motel. It's for sale. Wow, things are changing. Another motel here. So this was out there, and it still looks pretty rural, but look at all this development now. So we got another motel, the Embassy. This is just fascinating. And this is the stuff, you know, that I miss going back and forth to Chicago on the freeway. Never see this stuff. Pretty fascinating. Jim Dandy's, there's a supper club. We know how those are going away. Don't see many supper clubs anymore. The El Rancho Motel. Gotta love this. Whispering Pines Inn. This is incredible. And realize that we are paralleling interstate. And it's actually, you know, 143 south. I always think of it as 43 south or 94 east to Chicago, but that is lined with, you know, new hotels. So this is just so interesting. And I think from what my father recollects, that when he would go to Chicago, it would take about 2 hours, 20 minutes from the south side of Milwaukee. And I now get to O'Hare in 74 minutes when traffic's pretty good. So, you know, huge difference in terms of travel time. I think what we'll do is we'll get to the county line and then perhaps we'll call it a day. But let's see where this thing takes us. All right, here's a good contrast. So you've got new medical complex there, and then over here you've got the Twilight Motel, which looks like a motel built next to an old house. And then you've got an eye surgery center, and then the Smoke Creek Barbecue. Look at this house. It's like a mini mansion here out in the middle of nowhere. Pretty incredible. Top it off, you got an old church here. Church. So just, I think the comparisons between old and new are quite drastic, and of course you'll see there's an older home there, and then just past it there's something. So there's the highway built up with little mini downtowns and motels, becoming a kind of a suburban area. We may be hitting the end of the road here. Looks like, oh, they just put that's a new ramp to get on the freeway. Here you go, on the border. Of course, on the border, when it was built, the building's been there a while, used to be way out there. Again, it's a gentleman's club that, you know, they don't want to put near any residential areas, but Now those residential areas are coming out here. County Line Road, is this it? And again, this used to take you to Chicago, so this has got, I've never been this far. And this may be really boring to people watching, but you just have to know where this goes. Interesting, so it just becomes a frontage road. Literally parallels the interstate. Huh. I remember visiting my sister in De Pere at St. Norbert College, and this would have been 25 years ago, but I actually took the old, I think it would have been old 41 North. 41, 45, I get a little confused with that stuff, but it took extra time, but it was actually pretty cool. And the reason I took it was I had a car accident, so they gave me a loaner car, and I did not think that loaner was going to be able to go more than 50 miles an hour. So I decided just to take the safe route and go through the different towns. It was pretty cool. Well, I think we are at the end, and so that at least takes you through half of Milwaukee County, down to the Racine County, Old 41. I'm guessing it didn't curve like this. At some point it continued that way. But, well, that was an education, if nothing else. So, hope you enjoyed it. Tried to bring a little history back to YouTube and, you know, leave some comments, some things that I missed, some things you remember. That'd be great. And as we end and I slow down, you can see on the other side, what else? An old motel. Have a great day.